Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through all the noise and give you the essential insights you really need to be well-informed. No fluff.
That's the goal.
Today, we're plunging into the current political climate. It's, about 6 months into President Trump's second term?
Roughly, yeah.
And we're looking at some genuinely surprising shifts, some really intricate internal dynamics that seem to be emerging, especially within what many thought was, an unshakably unified base.
Exactly. Our mission today is really to help you navigate all the recent discussions swirling around. We want to separate the crucial insights from just the chatter.
Connect the dots.
Connect the dots, yeah. See how these developments are actually shaping the political landscape, how they're impacting public sentiment. So by the end, you should have a clear grasp of what truly matters for you, based on the information we've gathered.
Okay, so let's dive right into it then. The first maybe 5 months of the second administration, honestly, it seemed like pretty smooth sailing.
It really did.
President Trump was largely getting rave reviews from the MAG-yay faithful, right? That base known for being incredibly loyal.
Unwavering, you could say.
But in the last few weeks, as we've seen from the discussions we've looked at, some significant internal divisions have started to pop up. What started with, widespread approval is now facing some real challenges from within.
It's genuinely intriguing, seeing actual anger and division bubbling up from inside the movement itself. And it seems sparked by several specific friction points.
Like what? What are we seeing?
Yeah. Well, take the whole no forever war sentiment. That's deeply ingrained for many supporters.
Right, a core principle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's clashing pretty sharply with some recent, frankly surprising moves, like the big push to arm Ukraine against Russia.
Okay.
And even the bombing of Iran. That's raised alarms about risking another conflict. These actions are causing real concern, especially for that part of the base worried about foreign entanglements.
Yeah, I can see that. And it's not just military stuff causing waves, is it? We're also seeing pushback on fiscal policy. That's always a hot topic for this base.
Oh, absolutely. The big, beautiful bill, as it's called, that's generated quite a bit of concern over spending.
Yeah.
Especially given the administration's earlier promises about, fiscal discipline.
Right.
We've even seen big names like Elon Musk publicly complaining about the cost.
Really? Musk, too.
Yeah. And on Capitol Hill, you've got this noticeable internal struggle. The traditional fiscal hawks. Normally, they'd be fiercely against this kind of spending.
You'd think so.
But they're mostly going along with it. The feeling seems to be, well, this is Trump's party now. They feel they have to support the agenda. As Speaker Mike Johnson, for his part, he's been out there actively trying to make a, quote, moral case for the bill, trying to counter the arguments from the other side that it's immoral or cuts essential services. It really shows you the delicate internal balancing act going on.
So military actions, spending, both testing that loyalty. What about immigration? That's always been such a defining, maybe the defining issue for the movement. How are things playing out there?
Indeed. Immigration is still a major flashpoint. The material we've seen points to significant anger over certain ICE raids, specifically ones targeting non-criminals. That seems to go against what some of the base expected.
Okay.
And then there's this idea floating around, a special work program for illegal migrant farm workers.
Oh, that sounds like it wouldn't go over well.
It hasn't. That idea in particular has really riled up the base, given their very strong, long-standing no amnesty position.
Yeah, that's a core tenet.
It is. The message from that segment is crystal clear.
Yeah.
No amnesty.
Yeah.
Not a work program, not anything that even looks like it. It's a very, very firm line in the sand for them.
Okay, so policy tensions are definitely there. But beyond that, there's another persistent demand that's really tested the administration, isn't there? The Epstein files.
Ugh, yes. That hasn't gone away.
Huge point of concern. Calls for transparency from, everywhere it seems. How has the administration, from what we've seen, handled that pressure?
It's been a massive issue. The base has been demanding full transparency, names, answers. They widely view it, as our reports show, as a deep state cover-up.
That phrase keeps coming up.
It does. This belief that powerful, entrenched figures are orchestrating some kind of concealment. What's been particularly surprising, maybe even shocking to some, is the administration's response.
How so?
We've seen President Trump basically express a wish for the issue to just go away. He seems to see it as a distraction from his main agenda.
Okay, but the base doesn't see it that way.
Not at all. And what really rocked people, according to one GOP strategist we looked at, Bobby Eveney from Texas, he said is when the administration lashed out at the faithful, calling them weaklings and saying he doesn't want their future support if they keep pushing this. That public rebuke, aimed at a loyal part of the base, it clearly struck a deep nerve.
So when a strategist like Bobby Ely talks about name-calling causing hurt feelings and slight damage, it really makes you wonder, is this just a temporary spat, like a MAGA marriage spat, as some might say? Or is it something deeper, more significant for the movement?
That's exactly the question, isn't it? Bobby Ely also noted, and this is important, that as far as wholesale support goes, I think it is limited to the edges.
Okay, so maybe not a full-blown crisis.
Maybe not. But even if it is limited to the edges, this kind of fracture significantly impacts the enthusiasm, the energy moments. These are crucial for the movement's success.
Right, it runs on energy.
It absolutely does. For a movement built on such unwavering loyalty and high energy, any dip in that motivation, that's a critical vulnerability, especially, with a handful of really tight Senate and House races coming up in the midterms.
Good point. Every bit of enthusiasm counts then.
Every motivated vote counts. Even seemingly minor cracks can end up having pretty outsized consequences for the party's broader goals.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Moving away from the internal party stuff, another major controversy has bubbled back up recently. This one dates back to the Obama era, these accusations about manufactured intelligence.
Yes, it's quite striking how forcefully these claims have resurfaced.
What exactly are the claims we're seeing now, and how are they being handled?
Well, we've reviewed reports where Tulsi Gabbard asserted she has evidence that President Obama's national security team actually manufactured intelligence.
Okay, that's a serious charge.
Extremely serious.
Yeah.
And following that, President Trump publicly accused former President Obama of treason.
Treason, wow.
Yeah, a claim that has naturally sparked intense debate. Now, Speaker Johnson has indicated he's willing to consider depositions, maybe even subpoenas, for former President Obama if it comes to that. So it signals the House is taking these claims seriously.
And legally, where could this go?
Well, the discussions suggest we might eventually see some kind of special counsel look into it all. There's also talk, some speculation really, about a federal grand jury potentially forming down in Florida.
Florida? Any connection hypothesized there?
Some are theorizing a potential link to documents sought during the Mar-a-Lago search, but that's definitely just speculation at this stage. We'll have to see.
Of course, former President Obama hasn't been silent. He's pushed back, right? Pointing to that Senate committee report that confirmed Russian interference in 2016.
He has pushed back.
Yeah.
But this is where we need to be really careful and make a crucial distinction based on the materials we've analyzed.
Wait, what's the nuance?
That Senate report, it did not cover the specific claims being made now, like the FBI being unleashed on a presidential campaign for the first time, or the allegations about attempts to entrap members of President Trump's administration.
So the report focused elsewhere.
It focused on Russian interference, yes, but it's vital to clarify the difference between Russia simply interfering, through things like social media stories, maybe releasing emails.
Right, disrupting things. Exactly. Versus the much more serious allegation of actually manufacturing evidence of collusion between Russia and the Trump campaign. Those are two very different things.
I see.
And former President Obama also specifically said, "We never said that Russia manipulated the vote machines," which is technically true.
Right.
But for many voters, when they heard officials talking about Russia hacking the election, they interpreted that as manipulating the actual vote counts.
The perception versus the precise language.
Precisely. It just goes to show words matter, especially in court, as one analysis put it. The public takeaway often differed significantly from the precise legal or intelligence definitions being used.
It does make you wonder, though,
Yeah.
given how serious these claims are, manufacturing intelligence, potential entrapment, if this really happened back in late 2016, early 2017, why wasn't it dealt with more directly during Trump's first term, between 2017 and 2021? That seems like a pretty big question hanging out there. It's a critical point, a very critical question that, frankly, begs for a closer look. The implication here, as some of the reports we reviewed suggest, could point towards something broader. This idea of a deep state apparatus. Meaning the concept that unelected, long-serving figures within the government might have, perhaps intentionally, suppressed or just overlooked critical information.
Regardless of who was president.
Potentially, yes. This perspective, which comes through in some discussions, fundamentally challenges trust in our established institutions. And it's not necessarily seen as a partisan thing. It could involve individuals across party lines, people who've been in positions of power for a very long time, and for whatever reason, they either missed this information or They intentionally chose not to address it.
That definitely adds another layer of complexity and raises some pretty profound questions about accountability, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
So while all that is unfolding, we still have the Epstein files issue lingering. Any real update there? Is anything actually happening, or is it still just stuck?
Right now, from everything we're seeing, it looks like a classic case of kick the can down the road.
Still. After all this time.
Seems so. These files are, highly anticipated. Many people believe they hold key information needed for accountability regarding a network that allegedly implicated some very powerful figures.
So what's the holdup now?
Well, Speaker Johnson recently made a procedural move. He sent Congress home for the August recess without scheduling any further votes on it.
Ah, recess.
Exactly. And this effectively stalls the discharge petition. That's a rarely used tool that could force a vote on releasing the files, even if leadership doesn't want one. Democrats and some Republicans, too, were pushing for that.
So delayed until the fall, basically.
Procedurally, yes. They've effectively pushed any potential action into September or later.
Does that mean it just goes quiet until then? Or could something else bring it back into the spotlight sooner?
Well, there's always a possibility of movement, right? You could potentially see significant grand jury testimony emerge. Or maybe even Ghislaine Maxwell herself could end up testifying in the next month or so.
Oh, okay.
If something like that happens, it would absolutely thrust the issue right back into focus. Probably sometime in September or October, right when Congress gets back.
So it's delayed, but maybe not buried.
Exactly. For now, though, it just continues to hang over everything. It kind of symbolizes this broader public demand for transparency and accountability that clearly hasn't been fully met yet.
We certainly covered a lot of ground today. From these evolving dynamics within the MAGA movement, these internal rifts,
Yeah, quite surprising, some of them.
to these really high-stakes intelligence claims resurfacing and this still delayed Epstein files. Bringing it all together, what's the biggest takeaway for you from this deep dive?
I think if we connect all these threads to the bigger picture, what we see is that these events, which might seem separate on the surface, are actually deeply interconnected. They really illustrate our current political moment.
How so?
They paint a picture of a really complex, rapidly evolving political landscape. One that's defined by, surprising internal dissent within a very powerful political movement, by these high-stakes accusations involving intelligence agencies, former administrations, and by the strategic handling, or you could say the strategic withholding of really sensitive information. It's a truly dynamic and maybe uncertain period for American politics.
It really is. And in a world just flooded with information, trying to understand these dynamics, the internal dissent, the weight of these historical accusations, these tactical maneuvers around transparency, it seems absolutely crucial.
Couldn't agree more.
So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, is this. How will these ongoing battles over information, battles over loyalty, how will they ultimately shape our political discourse and, maybe more importantly, public trust in the months and years ahead? That's definitely something to keep thinking about as we watch these stories continue to unfold. Welcome to the Deep Dive.